After years of wedded bliss, Nick couldn't take it any longer. Melissa, through no fault of her own, had grown up in a home without cable TV or a VCR. If that last sentence confused you, Google it. This had resulted in her having very little pop culture movie knowledge. In order to right this injustice, the duo will watch and discuss movie after movie until Melissa has caught up with the zeitgeist of her generation. Welcome to their journey. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Are you enjoying this non-winter winter we're having?
We hiked today, so that was pretty great.
It was lovely.
Yeah, in the sun.
Yes. In the rare, rare sun. So, do you have any idea what we're watching tonight?
No, I have no idea. As ever.
Yes. Well, we're watching a movie that has an actor in it you may recognize.
Okay.
And his name is Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
You have any guesses for what movie it could be now? Do you know any Eddie Murphy films?
Wasn't he in Police Academy? No.
No.
Darn.
Have you seen Police Academy?
No, obviously.
Well, there's a lot of people.
Eddie Murphy.
It's an ensemble cast, so
he wears jeans and white tennis shoes.
What? I mean, actually, that's very accurate. And that movie is also on the list, but that's not this movie.
See, there is a movie.
Yeah, there is. Jeans and white shoes. Oh, wow. You are a treasure, my darling.
I hate white shoes, so it always stands out to me.
Okay.
No, I don't really, I don't know that I could, I saw The Nutty Professor. Was that?
No, that was like way after. This is an 80s.
That was an Eddie Murphy movie, right?
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only Eddie Murphy movie I can point to, and I know I saw that.
Wow. Okay.
In the theater.
In the theater.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been fun.
It was so fun.
All right. No, this movie is called Coming to America.
I have not seen this, I don't think. Oh, no.
Are you kidding me? Again with this?
I've seen clips.
Well, of course you have.
Yeah.
It's very much... it's a quintessential 80s movie to me, so.
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay.
But it's possible that we'll watch it and I'll be like, oh yeah.
This is the danger of doing this with you, by the way. It's like Russian roulette every time.
I know. Okay, yeah. So I know he's from some African country and he comes to America and comedy ensues. Yep. That's my understanding of this movie.
That's a pretty fair summary of it. You want to give me your tagline for it? With your limited knowledge. Do you remember what his vocation is or anything like that?
I think he's royalty. I think he's like a king or something.
Okay.
And I'm just picturing a lot of kente cloth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so let's see. New York has a new king. That's my tagline.
All right. Eddie Murphy forever. All right, let's go check it out.
Okay. Yes.
Good morning, my neighbors.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I forgot how good that movie is.
It really was really good.
I just remember when I was younger, it was very risque for when I saw it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what age I saw it, so don't ask.
Probably too young.
But, I mean, compared to movies nowadays, there wasn't a whole lot of it nowadays that was that risque. There was some language and, some adult themes, but in general, yeah. Anyway, I laughed a lot when we watched that. Mm-hmm. And it was so cute how when we were done, you just turned and looked at me and said, that was really good.
It was kind of like a RomCom.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, that's what it was, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's the, great grandfather of Black Panther. I strongly contend that.
You want to just jump in with that, huh? Let's just do this.
That's how I feel. You have this like heroic, like altruistic kind of paragon of a man, and he comes from this tiny African nation, and
that's extremely rich.
Yeah, and affluent. Yep, yeah. Anyway,
what is the name of the African town that he's from?
Oh man,
Zamunda
forever. Even wanted to do that. Wow. I can't believe I fell for that. How did I fall for that?
I don't know, but you did.
You literally just say Wakanda forever just when you're washing dishes. So, yeah.
I don't just say it. I shout it.
You do. That's true. And the best part is we probably misremembered the country. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Either way. Oops. Do you want to give us a quick summary?
Yes. Okay. So this is an Eddie Murphy movie. He produced it and wrote it. It's like his story.
Yes, it's his story.
I mean, a story that he wrote. It's not about his life.
Yeah. But he produced it. He started it, and the story is based on, like, he did the story, but other people wrote it. But that's how it works a lot of times.
Okay. Well,
he didn't write the scripts, but yes.
Thank you for that clarification.
I'm pushing up my virtual nerd glasses right now, so you're welcome.
Okay, so it's really great how this movie starts out. Because Eddie Murphy, it starts out kind of zooming in on this castle where they live.
Well, it starts with, it's Paramount.
Yeah,
it has one of the
really
best
cool.
like intros from the title screen of the movie that I've seen in a long time.
So the old Paramount picture, when it shows you the Paramount, it's like a mountain.
Yeah, it's like Mount Everest or something. Yeah,
sure. But this all of a sudden, like, it kind of fades into a real mountain. And it's kind of a cool trick on the eyes. And then all of a sudden you're like flying past the mountain.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That's a Black Panther theme, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
You're flying.
The parallels,
it's more
again.
leisurely in this movie.
It is way more leisurely.
True. Yeah. So you're flying over this beautiful countryside, and then you see in the distance this castle, and it's unlike any castle you've ever seen. It's almost like a Florida palm.
The castle, that was probably the castle they have. Like, you could tell it's just an illustration map. But I didn't care.
Palm Springs. It gives me the feeling of Palm Springs. That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
It's like white. There's gorgeous like architecture, but yeah. So you zoom in, you go kind of zoom to the castle, and you see it's like extremely beautiful and well appointed. There's elephants. It's
paradise, basically.
Yeah. And the elephants are like crossing in a line in the courtyard.
Yep.
And then there's this band, this like little, a little small tiny orchestra that's filing into this like upper balcony.
Yes.
And they're warming, they're like starting to play, and they begin, and it turns out it's like the waking up music for King Azid.
Oh, Prince Hakeem.
Prince Hakeem. Thank you.
No problem.
Prince Hakeem. And it's his waking up music.
Yes.
And the whole thing is setting you up to see like how extremely pampered this prince is. Like
it's his 21st birthday too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And he asks on his 21st birthday if he'd be able to go to the bathroom by himself. And the man in charge of like making him, getting him everywhere is like, no, sir, never.
He said, we won't play the music for you this time.
Right.
But no. Oh,
so it turns out on his 21st birthday, he's been betrothed to a woman, and he goes in to have breakfast with his mom and dad. And his dad is played by James Earl Jones.
Yes.
I've never seen him in a humor role. Like,
yeah.
I only saw him in Field of Dreams, where he scared me as a child.
Totally.
Yeah. And then, of course, Darth Vader.
I love his getup later, his royal outfit, where when they go to America later, and he has that giant lion over his shoulder. I just thought of Mufasa.
He's an amazing king.
Oh yeah.
Like his king character was cool because he was like stern and firm, but also, kind of
He was very accessible and
Yes.
like gentle to his son.
Yeah.
And
He was really cool. That was awesome seeing him in that kind of role.
I am a sucker for exaggerated humor. Like it, as we learned with Top Secret, like I was conditioned to any kind of exaggerated humor. It just tickles me. And the fact that they're like at breakfast, they're at one of those giant, crazy, like, what is that, 40-foot long table. And they have like old school communication devices in between where you turn the knobs and it's like a radio in between.
Well, because the prince is at one end,
yes,
and his mom and dad are at the very, very far end. There's no way they could talk to each other.
A sucker.
They could barely see each other.
And then the Rose Girls attendants, he gets up and tries to walk to them and like, hang on, and then they have the rose petals.
Yes, because he must walk on rose petals. So there's 3 women who are gorgeous, and they're throwing rose petals in front of us when he walks.
Of course.
So all this sets up that he's supposed to be betrothed, and he's feeling like this.
He has this revolutionary idea, right?
He wants to choose his own wife.
Yes,
he wants to fall in love.
Yes,
and he wants someone to marry him for him and not for his position.
Yeah, sorry, you were saying his life. His life. He feels like trapped in his life. Or
yeah. So he asks his parents if he can. Well, does he ask to get out of the wedding at the breakfast?
They're at the ceremony, and he says, "Excuse me, can I speak to the bride for a moment?" Or the betrothed.
After the bride walks down after this enormous dance number, which is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
He calls her to the side, and they talk in a little side room, and he just asks her questions. He just wants to get to know her.
What kind of music do you like?
Whatever you like.
What kind of food do you like?
Whatever you like.
And so this isn't going to work because like she's just kind of a puppet. She was like trained since she was a girl to be his wife.
Correct.
And to serve his every whim.
Yes.
And to not have any opinions of her own.
Correct. And that is not, he is not all about that. So his dad comes in and they end up talking, and Eddie Murphy's like, I want to go, I'm not ready to settle down yet. And the father interprets his wanting to go as like, I believe he called it sowing the royal oats, quote unquote.
Royal oats.
Royal
oats.
Not
wild oats.
Not the wild oats, the royal oats, yes. So
you may have 40 days.
40 days. You must go much lower. Yeah. And he brings Arsenio Hall, which I can't remember his name, but his basically his
Semi.
Semi. You got it. Yeah.
Thank you.
His best friend / guardian / trainer. Oh, the montage where they show them practicing their fighting skills is also over the top hilarious to me too. Like, they just the number of flips he does when he's trying to avoid, like he gets his staff knocked away from him and does like 80 flips or something crazy.
Yeah, across the room.
Yeah.
Semi, like played by Arsenio Hall, he's like good. His friend. He's really good.
Really good.
So I've never seen him in anything. I only knew his name. Like I never even saw his show.
The Arsenio Hall show. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he was really good. He was really funny. And his whole role is that he's like the king, the prince's confidant and his friend, but also his servant, because like the prince is a higher level than he is. So he has to do what the prince says. Yes. But mostly they usually agree anyway.
Most of the time. Well, I don't know if they agree, because he's pretty grumpy about having to like not stay in like the Waldorf Astoria, and he doesn't want to like live in squalor like the prince does. And they go to Queens because they want to find a queen. I love that logic train.
I love it too. They're like looking at a map. Yeah. They pull out a map.
A book that, yes. And then, it's crazy.
It is. I love it.
It's just so weird to think about that instead of like pulling out your phone or looking at it on a computer. Just, a map.
I feel like this movie, and this is one of those 80s movies that like has the 80s vibe of optimism. There's such a wonderful vibe of joy and optimism through like all the characters.
I would say like part of it too is like, which is crazy about that is that it's in New York in the 80s, which is like this very shady, kind of dirty, rundown place. New York in the 70s and 80s was pretty dodgy. Like there was some danger. So like that just adds to the level. We think of New York now when we watch a movie like this. I think we're like, oh, you just go there and you're a tourist and it's fine and stuff.
Yeah,
it was not like that back then. So the fact that they just roll up in Queens was crazy. Like that would have landed with an audience totally differently in the 80s versus now. Like watching it now.
That's an interesting point. They do kind of show that because the boys leave their luggage on the sidewalk, and as soon as they're in the door, of the apartment. Yeah. There's like people running up and like grabbing their luggage and just running off with it. And
they had like 30 like crates of luggage or pieces of luggage.
Yeah,
or something
an enormous
crazy.
pile of luggage there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get, wait, what was his name again? Prince Akeem. He doesn't want to like just live like a rich man. He wants to like just be like a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
So they get this apartment. And they ask for the mediocre apartment.
Yes.
We haven't talked about how he talks yet either, because his accent and his way of speaking is like really proper and very respectful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one thing missing from this movie was the Eddie Murphy.
Didn't come out.
It didn't come out at all. Not even in like the after credits, like goofy scene, like where they showed him all the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did good. Like, I think you were shocked by his acting in this film. Like that you were like, wow, you'd only seen him in like, Nutty Professor before, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which is a different kind of acting.
And that one SNL skit where he's like singing as Buckwheat, I think.
Oh, that's because I sing that one to you all the time.
Yeah, it's so annoying. I hate that song.
Oh, yeah.
Don't. You don't have to do it now.
Okay, I won't do it. I won't do it. Now it's in my head, though, so it's
I didn't know he was so talented. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It is.
He was really fun to watch. His character was awesome.
All the characters, like, that they played... Like, yeah, because in the barbershop, they play like he plays 2 or 3 different characters, and then the greatest band of all time, Sexual Chocolate. He's the lead frontman for that. Oh man, wow! I'm thinking about like Soul Glo, and every time I think about Soul Glo, it just makes me smile. Sorry.
Soul Glo is what is it? It's a hair product.
It is a hair product. The Jerry curl was a hair fashion in the 80s for African Americans. And like, it made your hair, how would you describe that? Like curly-ish, but like wet at the same time? Something?
Well, there was a little joke that they did.
The Soul Glo definitely, like, it was an extreme.
Yeah.
And Eric LaSalle, who's from ER fame, he was a surgeon in ER. He was on ER for like 10 years, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I remember him from ER.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes. He is, he's the heir to the Soul Glo empire. And all the commercials they have throughout the movie and for Soul Glo and stuff are just, it's hilarious.
You were so excited to hear the Soul Glo song.
I hadn't heard it in a long time. And I used to sing it to one of my coworkers, much to his enjoyment, I'm sure. But yes, I've always loved the Soul Glo brand. I'm a fan. What can I say? And the best gag with Soul Glo as well is when you meet his parents.
Yeah.
And they all have Soul Glo in their hair and they're sitting there and then they get up to stand up for an event and there's just like, you see a wet spot behind each of their heads on the couch.
I'm a Dapper Dan man myself.
Oh, well, that's fair. That's fair. They were in a tight spot though. So yeah. So anyway, they're in New York. They go into an apartment. It looks horrible. It has like body outlines, tape outlines and stuff.
And a rat crawling across the floor. Oh, it's perfect.
Yes.
They take it.
It's wonderful. And then they go to just get a job. I'm trying to remember how they even got to McDowell's.
Yeah, not McDonald's.
Not McDonald's. It's McDowell's.
And yeah, I remember how they got there. They went to the barbershop and they were like talking to the the barber guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, how do you meet nice women? Because they had just struck out like at a bar. There was like a montage of all these crazy women that they were meeting.
Yes.
And so they're like, how do you meet nice women? And they're like, well, we're going to this like rally for some awareness thing. Just come with us. And it was at a school, and it was like this big rally, and that's where the band Sexual Chocolate was playing.
It's Sexual Chocolate, yeah.
And working the concession was the owner of McDowell and his 2 daughters.
Yes.
And that's where Prince Hakeem sees the oldest daughter, and he's like, whoa. And she's smart, and she thinks for herself, and that's the kind of woman he was looking for. So he goes and applies for a job at McDowell's.
And the dad insisted, he I don't know, probably like twisted the preacher's arm, who was the host of the event, to say the address, and that's how he found it. And,
yeah.
Okay, so then he's there. They have the best outfits. They look like, I don't know, what is that, like Scottish? They have like plaid, like little berets.
Like, think like old school golfing outfits.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
The Tam O'Shanter is like that story.
Yes, the Tam O'Shanter.
Like a beret with a puff.
The words you know sometimes are just...
I read a lot.
You do. You sure do. So they're there and they're working. Oh, so many, and there's so many great Easter eggs too with people who show up at the restaurant. Like, you have Louis Anderson works there. He's just one of the characters who went on he's a great stand-up comedian, and he had a huge career doing that. But he also had I think he had a sitcom, if I remember right.
Really?
I think it was in the 90s, and it was a pretty big sitcom. And then at one point, there's a robbery. Yeah,
with Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
As young as I've ever seen him.
Yes, and he still looks not that young.
No, but he was not himself yet.
Oh, no. Well,
he hadn't come into his own with his strong voice and his mannerism that he has now that's locked in and solid.
Yeah.
This was pre that. This was maybe testing phase,
You could see the inception of it because there's the shouting, but yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't there yet. Mm-hmm. It was really interesting to see him.
It was really, that was a fun part too.
Yeah, yeah.
And it also, they got to pay, they did the payoff. The Russian authors, right?
Yeah.
You have to have the payoff for why you show everything. They had the extensive fight trainings montage in the beginning, and then boom, they take him out. He's got a shotgun and they disarm him and all that.
With a mop handle.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
So the thing that's happening though is Akeem likes this girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's dating Soul Glo.
Yes.
And he's trying to win her over. In the meantime, he's kind of clueless about how things work, in America.
Mm-hmm.
And he just doesn't know all the ins and outs. They go to a game.
Basketball game.
A basketball game. Yeah. On a double date. So he's actually with her younger sister. And
yes, he is. She's what forward would be one way. She's on the hunt. She wants a boyfriend.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. But he gets recognized by some other people there who recognize him as the prince.
Yes, some of the vendors. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was hilarious too. The jokes, there's just good jokes in the movie.
Really good jokes.
They're funny.
But it's not cheesy. It's not a cheesy movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's straight up good jokes.
Yeah, totally.
Solid and
it's a solid 80s comedy.
It is.
There were a lot of great comedies in the 80s. And you've probably seen one now. So I have a feeling there's a few more in your future.
Woohoo.
Some of the makeup effects in this, Eddie Murphy plays a white guy. He's an old Jewish guy in the barbershop.
Yes.
And they wanted to test his makeup. So he just was in the getup and he went to just another part of the studio where he was shooting. And he just said to someone hey, I'm Eddie Murphy, because he was huge when this was being filmed. And people just didn't believe him.
Whoa.
So that got he passed based on that.
I wouldn't have known it was him if you hadn't told me.
Yeah.
When we were watching.
His old Jewish man, he's got a good impersonation too.
Yeah, because the voice is there too.
Yes.
It's the whole thing.
Yes. Oh, I love how he was just so exuberant. The character Akeem was so exuberant throughout the film, and he would say things like, "Good morning, my neighbors," and everyone would shout obscenities at him and be like, "Go to bed!" Or he was singing when he got home from his date. Same deal. Like,
yeah.
oh,
I love characters like that. They're totally unflappable.
Yep.
And like they know what they want, and they just keep trying.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. And this movie, do you know who John Landis is?
No.
Yeah. He's the director and producer and writer and all that. He you are well aware of his work.
Okay.
He directed Thriller.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, An American Werewolf in London is another famous one he did.
You know I haven't seen that.
I know you haven't seen that.
I haven't seen either one, and I wanted to see the newer one.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, I wanted to.
No, I mean, sure, I'm not saying no, but you got to see the original before you see the remake. Come on.
Fair enough.
That's just how it works. But he also, you've seen another of his films too, The Blues Brothers.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So his whole shtick was kind of like art comedies. So that was kind of his thread in the 80s and on.
Awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy his movies. It's good stuff. So he where do we leave off? I'm gushing too much. Keep going.
Well, there comes a point where like he starts dating her, the girl.
Right. Yeah. Because she kind of breaks up ish
with Soul Glo.
Soul Glo, he's just kind of he's a jerk the whole movie, but she finds out he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is.
Mm-hmm.
But he and his they run out of money.
Mm-hmm.
Not because they run out of money, but because Semi wants to. He like redoes their apartment. Yeah. And he puts in like a jacuzzi and it looks slick. It's like 80s slick.
Oh, so
like,
slick.
Crazy weird lighting, like blue lights and all this stuff. And Akeem wanted to take his lady home and show her his.
Want to make her dinner or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But he couldn't because he doesn't want to let on that he's a prince. So he takes all their money and he gives it away to some homeless people. Which
you're going to understand who those people are in another film we watch later.
Okay, cool. Can't wait to see that. Connection. Connection. So then, so Semi writes home or sends a telegram.
He sends a telegram. And
he's like, I'm out of money.
Yes.
And how much, he's like trying to figure out how much to ask for. And he asked for an enormous sum of money.
It's like $1 million.
Yeah. Maybe I need 2 million.
Yeah.
So then that raises a red flag. And then the king comes to New York. And I love when they come to New York and they see where their son's been living.
Yes.
It's just crazy.
I love the shtick too, where they go into the barber shop and then the rose petals are everywhere, and then the old barber's like, "Who's gonna clean up these flowers?"
This is what you were kind of wondering that the whole time.
I was thinking that, like in the palace, I was like, whatever. But once they were in New York, I was like, seriously, who's gonna clean up the flowers? Like, what are the pigeons just gonna eat them?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
So the dad's there. He's looking for his son, and he finds like a trail. It takes him to McDowell's, and the dad, the owner of McDowell's, is like, "Well, come to my house, and he's dating my daughter, and I'll make sure that you get to see him." And when he does it, he finds out that Akeem is a prince, and he's kind of a gold digger, would you say? He's kind of like, oh, this guy has even more money than Soul Glo.
Yes, he was totally pushing Soul Glo because of the money of the family. He wants his daughters to be well taken care of.
Yeah, right. Well-meaning dad, but a little bit of a money grubber.
He's totally. He was.
So he tries to get Akeem to come over. And it just kind of happens where the dad leaves and Akeem comes, and Akeem doesn't want to stay and he leaves, and then the dad comes, and there's a little bit of like a misconnection there. And the dad's there and he's not nice to the daughter.
No, he is not.
It's like, oh, didn't my son tell you he has a wife? And she's like, say what? And he explains that he's betrothed. and he came here to sow his royal oats. And like, it's just getting worse and worse.
And her dad had put the mom in a lazy boy, which was also hilariously awkward.
Yes. She doesn't know how to get out of it.
Yeah. So she runs away in the rain, of course. It's raining and she just runs away. And then Akeem shows up.
Yep.
Gets upset. Yeah.
Goes after her.
Yep. And
then there's this really cool, like, classic sort of romantic scene on the subway where he's trying to, like, talk her into coming back to him and explain the lying and all this stuff. And this is my favorite part about movies in New York. When something happens in public and all the New Yorkers around are like watching and then chiming in. Yeah. And like cheering for her to say yes and like whatever. I love scenes like that. I do too.
I'm pretty sure like contractually they have to do that in New York movies. Like it's part of the, like, you want to film here? You got to have one New York moment, huh? Like literally 4 of them from different movies are just flashing through my mind, but yeah.
But this is like the part of the 80s optimism that's so sweet and wonderful. Like they want them to be together. And like there's a little old lady where the girl says no. And she gets off the subway and Akeem doesn't follow her. And this little old lady is like, well, if she says no, I could marry you or something. And he just like takes her hand and puts these like earrings into them that he had tried to give.
Yeah, they were like $500,000 earrings.
Yeah, like gorgeous ruby and diamond earrings.
Yeah, huge.
And he just gives them to her. And she smiles, and then the doors close and he goes away. It was just so cool.
And he's sad.
Yeah. Yep, he has to go back to his country.
Yep.
And then the next scene, it's like, boom, the wedding's happening. There's a woman walking down the aisle with a huge veil. And then when he pulls it up, reveal.
Guess who it is?
It's the girl he wanted. Yay.
Dreams
happy
come true. I'm pretty sure that was the mom's doing, by the way.
Yeah, that was the mom.
She was kind of, like pushing on the dad at the end there. So
on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, you can change the rule.
You're the king.
The king,
Come
right?
On. Okay, so if you were the heir apparent to a beauty empire, what product would your family make?
Oh.
Instead of Soul Glo. And yes, I said heir apparent because Soul Glo is a hair product, in case you're wondering about my pun skills.
That's next level.
Thank you.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. I'm thinking of like some sort of like skin butter.
Skin butter? That you could get.
I don't know why.
You could get a lot of comedic gold out of that. People slipping over things and you know, shaking hands, and afterwards it being people trying to rub the butter off of their hands, stuff like that.
Oh, so your question is like, what could be like in a comedy, not like an actual.
Oh, well, either way, product. You picked one that's funny, so it works.
I did. Yay.
It works.
Well, what about you?
Mine would probably be like a beard oil company, probably.
Yeah. Have you heard of Just for Men?
I have heard of Just for Men.
Have you? Okay.
I have. I've never tried it, but I've definitely heard of it. Yeah. Are you hinting at something, dear?
No hints here.
No hints? No. Okay. All right. I thought you wanted me to let my soul glow. No? Okay. All right.
You just be you.
I will. I will be me. So, what, if any, messages do you think were in this film?
Yes, messages abound in this film. You should fall in love. You should love someone for who they are and not what they have. Or not their money. So there's good reasons to be with someone and bad reasons to be with someone.
Okay. That's good.
Oh, what you got?
What do I have?
Yeah.
I think this movie is about not settling Like, you need to make yourself happy, or else you're not, it's your life. If you don't make yourself happy, then you're going to be trapped in your life, and it's not going to be a life you want to live.
Okay.
Or alternatively, it was a vehicle for Eddie Murphy to do a lot of funny stuff.
I think that's also a big part of it.
Yeah, it probably is. I wonder though if like when he had such a strong presence in the story and everything, like you wrote it and produced it. I wonder if it was kind of like he was really famous when this movie came out. I wonder if that was kind of how he felt. Like, I don't know. I didn't do any research about like his love life in real life. Like if this was echoing, like, he can't find a companion. He feels kind of trapped in his own fame. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if there was a lot of that in this film. I don't know. It's just dawned on me as we were sitting here thinking about it. Sorry, I went deep. Sorry.
That's okay. Deep is okay.
Yeah. I mean, even clowns can cry. Speaking of which, do you know what we're watching next week?
Oh. Why did you say clowns?
Oh, I'm just wondering if you know what we're watching next week.
That makes me really worried that it's something scary.
I didn't know. I don't know what we're watching next week. Probably.
I do not believe you right now.
You've never heard Tears of a Clown before?
Yeah, okay.
It's a very famous, saying.
Yeah, I don't know what we're watching next week, but it better not be based on a Stephen King novel.
Well, I guess we'll just have to find out.
I guess so. See you then.
Goodbye, my neighbors!
Bye.
But when I marry, I want the woman to love me for who I am, not because of what I am.
And who are you?
I am a man who has never tied his own shoes before.
Wrong. You are a prince who has never tied his shoes. Believe me, I tied my own shoes once. It is an overrated experience.
You can be all the things you've always wanted to be. Beautiful, sexy, easy as 1, 2, 3.
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow, baby. Feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow.
Soul Glo.
Because the great essence, love of all, inside of me. Yeah. Sexy chocolate.